Hello and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about how you don't need to be an entrepreneur to become rich. These days we are bombarded on social media about being your own boss and escaping the 9 to 5. Now I agree about escaping the 9 to 5, but only for financial freedom, not to replace the 9 to 5 with a 24/7. There are alternative ways to becoming rich, and we will look at these in this video. So let's start off with what is entrepreneurship. The Oxford Dictionary definition is the activity of setting up a business or businesses, taking on financial risks in the hope of profit. Most people start up a business in the hopes of being financially wealthy. They take on the risk by starting up their business. They trade their 9 to 5 for a 24/7, working for free for a long period of time, grinding in the hopes of making their business a success. Now, statistically, 95% of businesses fail within the first 5 years, which doesn't mean you shouldn't try. It's just the figures. Now, the internet gurus and coaches will try to make you believe that it's the only way for you to become rich, for you to achieve financial security. According to them, if you do not start your own business, then you are not going to become rich. Instead, you are going to be a wage slave for the rest of your life. Now, we know this isn't true, but the online gurus have to tell you this. They have to make you believe this. How else are they going to sell you the overpriced course, which provides little to no actual value? How else are they going to make their money without lying and scamming you? To be wealthy, there are different methods you can take, and entrepreneurship is only one possible route you can take. Now, to achieve financial freedom, it goes without saying that you will of course need a source of income. So a 9 to 5 is paramount. A 9 to 5 will provide you a stable source of income to which you can then use to invest into different assets, which can then propel you to financial freedom. So let's take a look at some of these assets that can secure your financial future. You can invest in the assets that has made the most millionaire in history, and that is real estate. People need a place to stay, so property is always a safe bet to generate income from rent payments. You can invest in the asset that has made the most millionaires in history, and that is real estate. People need a place to stay, so property is always a safe bet to generate income from rent payments, as well as having the value of the property go up, not to mention remortgaging to release substantial amount of equity that has been built up. Now, you don't have to just buy residential property such as housing or flats. You can also buy commercial property and then rent it out to a business and earn rental income that way. The rental yield on commercial property versus residential property is higher, which is expected seeing as you are leasing your building to a company whose sole purpose is to make money. Now, if directly investing in physical property isn't something that takes your fancy, but you still want to invest in property, but in a more hands-off approach, then REITs are what you need to look into. A REIT stands for Real Estate Investment Trust, which is a company that owns, operates, or finances income-generating real estate. It is modeled after mutual funds, so REITs pool money from investors to buy commercial real estate, such as cell towers, data centers, hotels, medical facilities, offices, retail centers, and warehouses. They also do invest in apartment buildings as well. Now, investors earn dividends from the real estate investment. Investors do not individually buy, manage, or finance any properties. The company does that, and most REITs are publicly traded like stocks, which makes them high liquidity, unlike physical real estate. Now, if neither of these take your fancy, then you can invest into the stock market and become a shareholder of companies such as Apple, Google, and Coca-Cola, just to name a few. You essentially make money by either getting payments made in the terms of dividends or by selling your shares at a higher price than you bought them for. You could invest in individual stocks, companies that you like and use, or you could try value investing. So looking for companies whose share price is undervalued currently and you believe that they will bounce back, which in return will make you a lot of money in the process. Or you could play it safe and invest into a broad market index fund, which is basically a basket of many different companies that are grouped together in an index based on either because they are the top 100 or 500 companies of that country, they are in the same sector and industry, or any other reason. By investing in a broad market index fund such as the S&P 500 or FTSE 100, you are lowering your risk because you are spreading out your investments across many different companies in many different fields, which ultimately lowers your risk, because if one company doesn't perform, then no problem. You still have hundreds of others, and certain ones will perform brilliantly during that year, which will more than make up for the ones that are underperforming. And historically, the market average return for the FTSE 100 is 10%. And along with investing in stocks, you could also invest in bonds. So a bond is a fixed income investment that represents a loan made by an investor to a borrower, which are typically corporate companies or governments. A bond is essentially an IOU between the lender and the borrower that includes the details of the loan and its payments. Now, say that you want to open a business, but you want to make sure that it has the highest possible chance to succeed. So instead of you opening a business from scratch, having to put your efforts to get it up and running, to bring in customers, you could become a franchisee and open a franchise business. So a business that has a ready-made formula, has a worldwide brand recognition, such as McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Hut, Burger King, Starbucks, Subway, Swarovski, just to name a few. This way, you already have a ready-made formula, a successful blueprint that has been proven to work, and a world-famous brand which already has a massive customer base. You essentially are able to skip the groundwork by going down the franchise route, but it does cost to become a franchisee. So that is something to take into consideration. And if you want to do none of that, you like your job and you want to move up the ladder, then that is a very good option too. Depending on the industry and company you work for, trying to move up the ladder can be one of the best career decisions that you make. If you are able to get into the C-suite office of your company, then your paycheck increases vastly to 6 figures and more. Also, your annual bonus can be a hefty amount of cash, and you don't have to invest into the markets. If your net take-home pay is 6 figures after all expenses such as tax and national insurance is deducted, then all you need is a high interest savings account to accumulate your wealth relatively quickly. You see, there are many different options to becoming rich. Instead of having to open your own business from the ground up, there is more than one way to skin a cat. Now, let's talk about the demonization of the 9-to-5. I think a lot of anger from people doesn't come from them having to work a 9-to-5. I think it comes from stagnant wages. If wages would have kept up with yearly inflation, then I don't think we would have so many people upset with their 9-to-5 career. I don't think most people would complain. After all, people loved the 9-to-5 back in the days. Dolly Parton made a song about it. Before you had job security, people would work 40 years at a company, be treated well, have their annual holidays, and in retirement they would get a nice pension for the years of work. But as we know, that is no longer the case. People nowadays are spending majority of their time working 2 jobs just to keep their head above water. With the cost of living having increased massively, meaning everything has skyrocketed in price, yet real-term wages have not, meaning people are poorer than they were 20 years ago, which is unacceptable. We are not moving forwards as a society. We are moving backwards, which makes the dream of entrepreneurship seem attractive. Now, I am not saying you should not try entrepreneurship. If that is something you truly want to do, to be your own boss and create your own business, then I encourage that. But what I am saying is that there is more than one way to skin a cat. There is more than one way to become wealthy. And another thing that everyone should consider is, what is wealthy? And more specifically, what is wealthy to you? Because not everyone's vision of wealthy is the same. It all depends on the individual's life circumstances. For example, if someone was born in poverty in a third world country, then their definition of what is wealthy will not be the same for someone that was born into royalty and had all the money in the world at their disposal. So, that was the video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, then make sure to subscribe and give it a like, and let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And take care.